For the past few weeks, we've been talking a lot about child free life, especially for women. And lo and behold, I found this article. This is just a summary of one of them, and I'll show another piece of another article as well, talking about the oldest woman to live currently. She is 117 years old, and guess what? Surprise, surprise, she is a nun. Yeah. So she's lived her life dedicated to the Most High. Children are not involved. She must have lived a stress free life because you have to think you're not dating, you're not in the dating world, you're not trying to get a man, you are not you are not a pick me trying to see which man you can hold down. So, and she's been doing this since she was quite young. So, she's really dedicated her life from a very, very young age. Now, some would argue the man is most high, but on earth here, where you're actually physically holding and seeing people, no, not the physical man she is living for. So let's read a bit about her story. Soccer loving nun from Brazil tops list of world's oldest living person at nearly 117 years. A soccer loving nun from Brazil is now believed to be the world's oldest living person at nearly 117 years old, following the death of Tomiko Itoka from Japan. Sister Ina Kanabaro was validated as the oldest person by Lounge v Quest based on early life records. She was born on June 8, 1908, but her nephew claims she was actually born on May 27 according to the this word, Long v Quest researchers. Canabaro is the second oldest nun ever documented after Lucille Randon, who passed away in 2023 at age 118. So nuns have a record breaking. So this is not to say that there weren't women who were mothers and children that lived long, but nuns, particularly, have been known to live very, very long lives, and she is just one of the many that have lived this long. So let's read the other article. So this clip gives a bit about her early life. She took up religious work still a teenager and spent 2 years in Montevideo, Uruguay, before moving to Rio de Janeiro and eventually settling in her home state of Rio Grande do Sul. A lifelong teacher among her former students was General Juejo Figueiredo, the last of the military dictators who governed Brazil between 1964 and 1985. She was also the beloved creator of two marching bands at schools in sister cities straddling the border between Uruguay and Brazil. For her 110th birthday, she was honored by Pope Francis, another person that's celibate. That's another story. She is the second oldest nun ever documented after Lucille Randon, who was the world's oldest person until her death in 2023 at the age of 118. So the previous, well, she hasn't broke the record yet. She has to live 2 more years and then she can break the record. But the last person who lived the longest was a nun. Are we seeing the pattern here? So when all of these people are talking about birth rate, all I could think of are bees. Bees, and I'll tell you why. I'll just put some clips up of bees and their life. I'll put that on the back end so you can check that out. But we live longer lives. And the thing is, the good thing with being a nun, at least you're giving your life to a higher cause that's your choice. It's not about being a mother to children that you bear and leave behind a man who is your second child or your next child. They've chosen their path, and it was something that I can respect regardless what it is. They chose their path. And I think there's so many things to nurture besides your own children and a man. So kudos to them for making those decisions. And now they can really just experience and love the community around them, because I read the article and her nephew checks in on her. She has family around her. So it's not that there's no children in her family. There's going to be women that are going to have children. It's just that it's not going to be most of the women. That's how I think society should be. Most women shouldn't be having a bunch of kids. It should be those who really want it and who really care to do it, and do it in a community of people, particularly a community of women that are willing to help. And so yeah, this was a really interesting article, and I'm gonna just add a bit of some really interesting videos about queen bees and bees at the end, so that you can learn about the the way of the bees. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
Any female bee egg can be made into a queen bee. So if you give a colony that's queenless the opportunity to make their own queen, that's sometimes even better than introducing a new queen to them. And the way that a queen bee is made is when the queen bee lays an egg, and if it's a female worker bee egg, which most of them are, because again 95% of the colony's population is female, every bee in the first 3 days of their life, they're fed royal jelly. And then they're switched to a diet of pollen and a little bit of nectar. But if a baby bee is fed royal jelly through the duration of its development, it turns into a queen bee.
But a regular worker bee cannot give birth or cannot lay an egg that would be a queen bee or
Correct.
even a female bee.
Correct.
So where does that female bee come from? Only from a queen?
Yes.
So a queen can only give birth to a queen.
A queen can lay both female and male bee eggs.
I shouldn't say.
A honeybee colony is not a monarchy like many people think it is. The queen bee is actually not the leader of the hive, and she doesn't rule over all the other bees. It's the female worker bees who make the decisions for the colony, and they do so collectively as a group. The queen has one important job. She's in charge of laying all the eggs for the colony, and she is the only bee who can create more worker bees. So if the queen is doing her job well, the colony will follow her, protect her, and care for her. If the queen bee is not doing her job, or if she gets too old or dies, the female worker bees can choose to replace her and make a new queen. They can take any female worker bee egg and turn it into a queen bee by feeding it a special diet of royal jelly throughout its development. And so a hive can go on, generation after generation, with all the bees working together to do what's best for the good of the colony.
Well, that wraps up today's video. I hope you enjoyed the tidbit about the honeybee. I think they are most fascinating animals out there to date. They mean business, they're about their business, and I like how the person described that the worker bees, which are the female workers, they are the one that rules everything. They decide who's going to be the queen, and they do everything to protect her and keep her sound mind. So I think, if anything, why can't we learn a bit from these bees? I really see I really see something we can learn from them. But, anyways, I will see you in the next video. Toodles. I will see you at the next video. But I think you would like this one. Click it. Go ahead and click it. Thank me in the comment section. See you next time. Bye bye.